And ignorance pushes us into illusion. So the Vedic wisdom says, Asato ma satagamaya. Don't remain in asat. Human form of life means to come on the platform of Sat. Sat means which has eternal existence. In material existence, there is nothing Sat. Everything is Asat. It takes birth, it stays for some time, and finally it is perished. It is destroyed. So that is Asat. Asat means that which will not exist. And Sat means that which has eternal existence. So how to come to the platform of Sat? Asato ma satagamaya. So, and tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. So material existence also means tamas. Tamas means darkness. You see, this material world, how can we see now? Through the medium of electric light. We discussed that once more. During the day, how do we see? Through the sunlight. If the sunlight is not there, the electric light is not there, the moonlight is not there, the light of the fire is not there. Can we see? No. So it is tamasa. This material existence, this material world is tamasa. It is full of darkness. And spiritual life means to elevate from darkness to illumination. Tamsi ma jyotirgamaya. And what does illumination means? Illumination does not mean the person who is spiritually enlightened, he will have, glowing of light from his face. No, not like that. Glow will be there on his face, but it will not be that the lamps will be glowing. So what is the illumination? Illumination is by knowledge. Illumination is by knowledge. So what he comes to the platform of Mrityurma Amrit Gamaya. So Bhagavad Gita gives us this opportunity to remove asat from our life and to come to the platform of Sat. To remove tamas from our life and come to the platform of Jyoti. Krishna says, Krishna promises in Bhagavad Gita, Tesham aham anukampartham nashyami atma bhavasto. Krishna will personally remove the darkness of ignorance and illusion from the heart of those who are spiritual practitioners. And from Mrityu to Amrit, to eternal existence. So in this fourth chapter, the chapter itself is entitled Transcendental Knowledge. So in the first 10 verses, we discussed knowledge about Supreme Lord Kṛṣṇa. What is the history and origin of this transcendental knowledge? Transcendental knowledge is eternal. It is since the beginning of the creation. And then Kṛṣṇa speaks about himself. So many times we see and we say, people in this, present scenario, their belief in God is becoming less. Right or wrong? Why? Because they do not have any bona fide source to know God. Since their knowledge is less, what they think that the Lord does not exist. But that is not true. I'll give you one real story. Once our devotee went to a barber shop. Those who stay inside the temple, they don't go to the barber shop because we don't need barber. But those devotees who stay outside, they go to the barber shop. You do visit? Dolamani, you visit? Pradeep, you visit a barber shop? So when the devotee visited the barber shop and he was getting his hair cut, so the barber was having some conversation. So many topics came up. There was discussion between both the customer and the barber. And one of the topics that came was of God. So the barber said that, my dear sir, God does not exist. And this devotee who was in the form of a customer, he inquired that what makes you say so? On what basis can you say that God does not exist? So the barber held the hand of the devotee and took him outside the shop and said that if God would exist, and you say, or the scriptures say, that God is all powerful, God is omnipotent, God is omnipresent, God is all loving, God is the Father and everyone is His children. But you see on the streets, how many people are suffering? He showed one beggar. And he said, if God exists, why this beggar is existing? Is God not all loving? Is God not all powerful? Can He not solve the problem of this beggar who is there in the street? So the devotee decided not to argue with him. He just paid his bill and moved out. But as he moved out, he saw another young man coming from the other side of the road. And this young man was very much in disarray. He had not bathed for many days. He had long hairs, beards, unshaven, unclean, dirty hairs. So it's such a filthy situation he was. So this devotee went inside the barber shop, told the barber to come out for a minute, and showed him this, unclean, unkempt young man, and said that barbers do not exist. He said, what are you saying? I'm standing in front of you. I just shaved you. I cut your hair. Well, if barbers would exist, how would such a young man be dirty? How would he be so unclean? How his hair should be so long? How his beard would be untrimmed? So the barber was taken aback. And he said, my dear sir, we also exist. And this person also exists. But this person has to approach us. He has to come inside the barber shop so that we can treat him. But if it is his desire, out of his own desire, he never approaches us, then how can we help him? This is exactly the point the devotee wanted to tell the barber. God does exist, and God is all loving, and God is all powerful. But it depends on the individual, whether he accepts the authority of the Lord and approaches him or not. That is what we discussed in the last verse. Kṛṣṇa said, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tatheva bhajami. Mam vartmanu vartante manushya parth sarvasa. In the 12th verse, Kṛṣṇa gave this principle. In the 11th verse, Kṛṣṇa gave this principle that as all surrender to me, I reward them accordingly. And everyone follows my path in all respect. So in the first section, from 1st to 10th verse, we saw the transcendental knowledge about Bhagavad Gita and transcendental knowledge about Kṛṣṇa. And now the second section which we are discussing, it is from 11 to 15. It is the application of that knowledge. Application of knowledge of Kṛṣṇa. So in the 13th verse that we discussed, so Kṛṣṇa said that he has created 4 divisions in the society, Chatur Varna Maya system. And how is the division based? On quality and activity, guna and karma. And everyone follows his path. Why did Kṛṣṇa create this Chatur Varna? Why? What is the purpose of creating 4 divisions? We discussed, it is like the head, it is like the arm, it is like the stomach, and it is like the legs. So all have different functions. And without the cooperation of all, can the body function? No. So it is foolish or it is unintelligent to speak of classless society. It is like saying that people should have only head. Is it possible? No. So now Kṛṣṇa is speaking what he has already spoken. That when he said in the 11th verse, that although he has created the society, then he said that tasya kartaram api mam. Although he is the creator, he has created this society, he has created this universe. Then he says, vidhi akartaram avyayam. Kartaram means one who is the doer. But simultaneously, Kṛṣṇa is saying, akartaram avyayam. But he is saying, I am the creator, but I am not the doer. So how to understand that? If I come here and I am speaking, I say I am the speaker, but I am not the speaker. Can both things be true? Okay, explain how. Explain how. Yeah. You have come little close, but not correct. Huh? Yes, I am only the presenter. The content is not mine. But that is not the case with Kṛṣṇa. We will learn today. How Kṛṣṇa is different, how he is aloof, and how he is the non-doer. Although he is the creator and maintainer of this creation, although he has created the 4 divisions and order. So this is understanding the knowledge which Kṛṣṇa has given about himself. What was the verse Kṛṣṇa spoke? Janma karma chame divyam. So Kṛṣṇa's birth and all his activities are on the transcendental plane. So whatever he does on the transcendental plane, it remains unaffected by the material world. So although in this material world he creates, but he is aloof from his creation. How it is that? Kṛṣṇa gives that principle here. Very interesting. And Kṛṣṇa says that one who can even understand this principle of mind and act accordingly, he is also free. Very beautiful verse, verse number 14. We have not done Mangalacharan today, now. We will first do the Mangalacharan. And then we will discuss the verse. Om Agyana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pad Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine. So this 14th verse in the 4th chapter, Krishna continues to speak about his transcendental nature, about his activity. Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spriha iti mam yo vijanati karma virta badhyate. So namam karmani limpanti. The first transcendental act is, Krishna says, although I create, although I maintain, I sustain, and even although I annihilate, but I am not affected by my activity. There is no work that affects me. Why? Reason also he gives here. Name karma phale spriha. Because whatever he does, or whatever activity Krishna performs, Krishna is not motivated by the result or fruit of that activity. Name karma phale spriha. You see, in this material world, how does everyone act? Everyone acts on the basis of his desires. And what are the desires motivated by or propelled by? To have pleasure, or to enjoy, or to have happiness. So as one is inspired by his desires to enjoy, what the desires does? The desire pushes the person to perform some activity. Isn't it? Why are you studying? Why are you all here in IARI? Are you not pursuing your desire? Yes or no? Yes. So as you perform some activity, the result of bringing into action the desires to make it happen, the activity, it triggers the impact of the three modes. These three modes starts to react. And as the three modes react, there is activity and also there is reaction. Isn't it? What is the third law of Newton? Every action has equal and opposite reaction. But because Krishna has no such desire, and he is not motivated by the result or the reward or the fruit of the desire, he is aloof. So one principle Krishna is giving here, that one who is not acting based on fulfilling his desire, that means he is acting out of duty, or higher than that is out of love. So for such a person, the reaction or the counteraction is not affecting him. So Krishna says that namam karmani limpanti, there is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of the action. So this is the principle. This is the transcendental activity which Krishna performs. So how we can come to the transcendental platform? If we are acting under the instructions of Krishna or his representative without the desire for result or reward. So Krishna said, Iti mam yo bhi janati. Janati means one who knows in truth, in knowledge. One who understands this principle of how Krishna creates. Krishna is the creator. Krishna is the maintainer. Krishna creates through his representative, the chief engineer, who is the Brahmaji. He appointed Brahmaji to create. But Krishna provides him the intelligence and the ingredients both. Brahma cannot create. Brahma first meditates. And tene Brahm hide adi kaviyo. What Krishna gives? Krishna gives the enlightenment and the knowledge and the wisdom to Brahma to be able to create. But even that is not sufficient. He needs the ingredients, the material ingredients. Kṛṣṇa also provides the material ingredients. So Kṛṣṇa is both. Kṛṣṇa is the cause, and through the effect, the creation happens. So Kṛṣṇa is saying that one who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of world. So this is the transcendental nature of Kṛṣṇa's action. Although he does so many things, it seems. So that is why people are bewildered by Kṛṣṇa's Leela. Kṛṣṇa was also doing Makhan Chori. But Kṛṣṇa was not doing Makhan Chori to please himself. You know, Janmashtami is approaching. Kṛṣṇa was stealing butter to please whom? Not to himself. To please from whom he was stealing. Why? Because Kṛṣṇa was not fulfilling his own desire. Because the gopis had the desire that they wanted Kṛṣṇa to come and steal. So Kṛṣṇa came and stole. Just to please and fulfill the desires of his devotees. So similarly, whatever Kṛṣṇa does is transcendental. So let us understand this more deeply. This verse, Prabhupada begins the purport that as there are constitutional laws in the material world stating that the king can do no wrong, or that the king is not subject to the state law. So Prabhupada is explaining the principle that the lawmaker is always above the law. You know that? The creator is always above the creation. So Prabhupada gives the example of the king, that what is applicable for the citizens is the same applicable to the king? No. I'll give you one example. You may be going through the highways. Have you passed through the highways? When we go through the highway, there are toll tax. Toll gates are there. And what normal people have to do? They have to pay toll. Then only their vehicle can go ahead. But have you seen there is a board written there? What the board says? Exempt categories. And who is the number one exempt category? President of India. If the President of India is moving in his car, or the Prime Minister is moving in the car, will the traffic signal, the traffic, laws be applicable to him as it is applicable to me? And no. If the Prime Minister is going from that street, everyone else will be stopped. Have you seen or not? Traffic will be put to a side. One more example I'll give. Like when we are traveling on the road, we have to follow the traffic signals. Otherwise, we will be penalized. There will be penalty. But if a plane is passing from the sky, does he have to obey the traffic signal? No, he is above. So similarly, Prabhupada is speaking here that the king is not subject to the state law. Similarly, the Lord, although he is the creator of this material world, is not affected by the activity of this material world. Last time you remember I gave one example. What example I gave? Although he is within the same premises, but that law is not applicable to him. What was the example? Anyone remembers? Who came in the last class? Anyone online remembers the example I gave? Okay, Ramya Madhuri Mataji remembers. Yes, aap boliye. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, jail and jailer.
Little louder, please.
Prabhuji, jail and jailer. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, jail and jailer.
Very good. Very good. If in the prison house, all the prisoners are there. So all the rules of the prison house is applicable to all the prisoners, isn't it? But the same rule which is applicable to the prisoner, is it applicable to the jailer? No, not applicable to the jailer. So similarly, although Kṛṣṇa is the creator of this universe, of this material world, and when he comes in this material world, The laws of material nature, the three modes, do not affect him. Why? Because he is above. He is the creator. The creator is not bound by his creation. You get this principle? So Prabhupada is saying he is the creator of this material world, is not affected by the activities of the material world. He creates and remains aloof from this creation. This is very important. The one principle that we can learn from the Supreme Lord. Although he creates, but he is not attached to his creation. He is aloof. He is detached. Whereas the living entities are entangled in the fruitive results of material activities because of their propensity for lording it over material. So this is a difference between the Supreme Lord and the ordinary human beings. So ordinary human beings, whatever activity they perform, what they become? They become attached. And where is the attachment? What is the root of attachment? Result. To enjoy the reward or the result of the activity which they are performing. So they become entangled. And as soon as the desire is there and with that desire they act, modes start to work with them. And as they work within the modes, influenced by either goodness or passion or ignorance, the effect of the mode is that there is a reaction or counteraction. And that counteraction brings more desires, more activity, more reaction. So the cycle, this vicious cycle continues from one body to another body, from one birth to another birth. He is entangled. And Prabhupada is speaking here is for the propensity to lord it over material resources. And as one acts, what he thinks that he has become the proprietor. Isn't it? Like you start living in a house, even though it is a rented house. Somebody comes and asks you, is this your house? Have you ever heard anyone saying, no, this is my landlord's house. His name is Mr. Singh. Have you ever heard? This is Mr. Singh's house and I am a tenant here. Have you ever heard like this? It is a clear example. So what is the propensity? The propensity is to lord it over. If you are coming, if you are going somewhere, so normally people hire a cab. So people ask, how did you come? I came by car. The car belonging to you. So this propensity is there from the material nature. That which is not ours, as soon as we come close to it or we start utilizing it, we start thinking that it belongs to me. This Swami mentality is there. Ownership, proprietorship. And as soon as the proprietorship mentality comes, with it the mentality comes of I am the enjoyer. If it belongs to me, it is for me to enjoy. So this is the Karanam. Krishna says, Karanam guna sangasya sad asad yoni janmashu. So this is the root cause of having attachment, and with attachment comes illusion. That which does not belong to us, we think it is ours and we get entangled. So here Prabhupada is saying that because of the propensity of lording it over material resources, so Prabhupada gives the second example, a second analogy. How the Lord is different from his creation, or how he remains aloof from all his activity. The second example he gives is the proprietor of an establishment is not responsible for the right and wrong activities of the worker. Like a big enterprise is there. A big office is there. An IT office, so-called common concept. And in that IT office, how many workers are there? How many employees are there? Thousands. So does the chairman know each and every employee? Does the chairman know each and every activity, what the employee is doing? Whether he is working on his program or he is watching on Netflix, does he know? No. Is he responsible for their activity? No. Everyone is individually responsible. So although the Lord has created, the Lord is aloof. He is not responsible for the individuals who are in his creation for their activity. They are individually responsible. The Lord has given each of us independence. Isn't it? Some of you choose to come into the class and hear Bhagavad Gita. What about the rest? It is their choice. And most of them, what is their desire? They don't want to come. It is up to them. Is there any force? Although Kṛṣṇa has created, is he forcing? You should come and know what this creation is. I am the creator. You are created. You should know from me, the creator, what is the purpose of creation. No. It does not put any force. So similarly, Prabhupada is saying here, the proprietor of an establishment is not responsible for the right and wrong activities of the worker, but the workers are themselves responsible. The living entities are engaged in their respective activities for sense gratification. And these activities are not ordained by the Lord. So it is up to them, based on their own desire and their own awareness. They are free to a certain extent. And how are they working or acting? For advancement of sense gratification. The living entities are engaged in the work of this world, and they aspire to heavenly happiness after death. The Lord, being full in himself, has no attraction for so-called heavenly happiness. So Kṛṣṇa has no such aspirations or desires what the people in this material world have. So what they get? They get entangled. They get attached. What? One, to the work that they do. And second, to the result of the work which they are performing. Right or wrong? So they become entangled. But the Lord is full in himself. He has no attraction. The heavenly demigods are only his engaged servants. And then Prabhupada says a very phenomenal statement. He says, the proprietor never desires the low-grade happiness such as the workers may desire. Isn't it? That the chairman have the same desire as his manager has, or his supervisor has, or his worker has? No. Why? Prabhupada says, because the desire of his juniors are low-grade. What is the desire of the Supreme Lord? That every living entity in this human form of life can become free. But is the same desire of all the living entities? No. What are they desiring? They are desiring how to remain in this world and become happy. So they are opposite, they are diametrically opposite to what the Lord's desire is. He is aloof from the material actions and reactions. And Prabhupada gives another example. See, in this one purport, Prabhupada is so merciful. He is explaining again and again through so many analogies and examples. He gives the rains are not responsible for different types of vegetation. The rains are there, na? The rains are not doing any partiality to any piece of land. The rains fall. But some land, they get good produce. But some land, there is no produce. So is the rain responsible? No. What is responsible? Who is responsible? The farmer. If he has cultivated his land, if he has sown the right seed, then what will be the situation? When the rain comes, he will get the benefit. But if he has not done anything in this, he has not prepared the ground, if he has not sown the seed, even if the rain comes, what will be the gain? Nothing. So Prabhupada is saying the rains are not responsible for different types of vegetation that appear on the earth. Although without such rain, there is no possibility of vegetation growth. Vedic Smriti confirms this fact as follows. Nimit metram ivaso srijiyanam sarga karmani pradhan karani bhuta yatova srij saktaya. This is coming from Vedic Smriti. In the material creation, the Lord is the only supreme cause. He is the original cause. The immediate cause is the material nature. I have given example many times. Like, you know, a knife. A knife. Let's take an example of a knife. So material knowledge means what? How to make knife out of steel and plastic or wood. How to have the steel which is very sharp. It is cut. It is put into such a shape. Then it is put into such, process that it is very sharp and a handle is used. But spiritual knowledge means how to apply the knife. If material knowledge is applied, what will the knife do? It will only cut. It can kill. But if wisdom is applied, that from the same knife, surgery can be done. And the person can be cured. So what is knife? Knife is the instrument. Is knife responsible? No. Who is responsible? The person who is using the knife. So similarly, Prabhupada is explaining here that the immediate cause is the material nature. So material nature is providing us the knife, the elements, the gross elements, the subtle elements, by which the cosmic manifestation is made visible. The created beings are of many varieties, such as the demigods, human beings, and lower animals. And all of them are subject to the reactions of their past good and bad activities. So in the Lord's creation, there is variety. And how this variety is coming? From their past good or bad activities. Purva Kaṛmā. As we have performed activity in our past life, so accordingly we will receive a body. Our body is the result of our past activity. And what we perform now in this life, this will determine what will be our next body. Very clear. When we will come in the 8th chapter, Kṛṣṇa will give this principle. Kim Kaṛmā? Arjuna asks, Kim tad Brahma, Kim Adhyatma, Kim Kaṛmā Purushottama. And Kṛṣṇa says, Bhut Bhava Udhav Karma. So Kaṛmā means creation of future bodies. So what you are doing now, so is destination in our hand? Yes or no? Yes, fully in our hand. What you do today, you are responsible for your next birth, or next body. The Lord only gives them the proper facilities for such activities and the regulations of the modes of nature. But He is never responsible for their past and present activity. So what is to be known, Kṛṣṇa is saying here, Na mam karmani limpanti, na me karma phales priha, that although I create, I am not attached to my creation. And who is the creation? The living entities. So they are there to decide according to their own desires. So I am not responsible for their activities. Or neither I am responsible for what the results they get of their activity. How it is working? Everything is working within the laws of material modes. Within the laws of material modes, there is the law of karma. Or as we say, law of the land or law of the nature. So everything is working very systematically, very subtly within these laws. So Kṛṣṇa is not responsible for their past and present activities. In the Vedanta Sutra, it is confirmed, Vaishamya naha grihanye na sapikeshatvat. The Lord is never partial to any living entity. So another aspect is that the Supreme Lord is always equal. He never favors anyone, nor does He have any aversion to anyone. So how He reciprocates? We have heard that in the 11th verse. How He reciprocates? He has no attachment or no aversion. So how He reciprocates? What was the 11th verse say? According to their own desires and disposition. according to their own desires and disposition. And when we'll come to the 15th chapter, Kṛṣṇa will speak. Matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Like the barber shop. If someone is interested to know him, Kṛṣṇa will give him all the facility to know. If you step into the barber shop, then only you can get, a good cut and a good trimming and a nice face. But if you opt out and if you don't want to know him, if you want to forget him, Kṛṣṇa will give you all such facilities that God does not exist. So it depends on the individual. What impetus he has or what initiative he takes. So that is why Kṛṣṇa is saying that the Lord is never partial to any living entity. The living entity is responsible for his own act. The Lord only gives him the facilities through the agency of material nature, the external energy. Anyone who is fully conversant with all the intricacies of this law of karma, of fruitive activities, does not become affected by the result of his activity. So now Kṛṣṇa is educating Arjuna. Because Arjuna was reluctant. What was the reluctance of Arjuna? He did not want to fight. Why he did not want to fight? Because he thought that if he fought, then he will have to kill. And if he kills, he will be inflicted by sinful reaction. So Kṛṣṇa is saying that Kṛṣṇa is enlightening Arjuna here that one who knows me, that I am transcendental, and one who works under my transcendental instruction, he will be free from sin. Iti mam yo bijanati karma bhirsana vadhate. This is the verse. One who understands this truth about me and does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work. So he's dispelling the misconception of Arjuna, and through Arjuna is dispelling the misconception of all of us. So if we decide to act under Kṛṣṇa's instruction or Kṛṣṇa's representative instruction, nothing in this material world can bind us. Very clear. And if we continue our own independent way, there is no way we can be released from the reaction of the action that we do. No possibility of liberation. Very deep principle Kṛṣṇa is explaining here. So here Prabhupada is saying that the Lord gives him only facilities through the agency of material nature, the external energy. Anyone who is fully conversant with the intricacies of the law of karma, which Kṛṣṇa is defining here. What is the law of karma? Anyone and everyone who is within the law of karma, he has to take future body. He cannot be released. So what one has to do? One has to come to the platform of akarma. And what he has to become? Akarta. You understand the word? Akarma means akarta. Akarta means one who is not attached to the result, or one who is also not affected by the result of his activity. And how it is possible? It is only possible when one is following the instructions of the Supreme Lord or his parampara. Anyone who is fully conversant with all the intricacies of the law of karma, fruitive activities, does not become affected by the result of his activities. In other words, the person who understands this transcendental nature of the Lord is an experienced man. Prabhupada gives this wonderful remark. Prabhupada is saying, but anyone who understands this transcendental nature of the Lord is an experienced man in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. That means in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, we have many, many inexperienced persons who are acting independently, not understanding this principle. So one who understands this principle, Prabhupada is saying, is an experienced man, and thus is never subjected to the law of karma. So who is an experienced man in Kṛṣṇa consciousness? Who is above the law of karma. Who is akarta. When Prabhupada was asked that, Swamiji, you have given such wonderful books. Once Tamal Krishna Maharaj was speaking to Prabhupada. It is in 1976. And he was very much appreciating and glorifying Prabhupada that how much you have given this transcendental literature to us, how you have explained the spiritual aspects to us. So he was very much glorifying, and Prabhupada completely dismissed it. Prabhupada said, nothing is mine. I have just presented what Kṛṣṇa has spoken and what my Guru has instructed. Prabhupada was on what platform? Akarta. I mean, in our case, yes. Now you have understood. For entire life, I was working so hard. No one was recognizing. Now you are the only person who have recognized my work. Prabhupada never said, see, I'll give you the example. If you see the preface of this book itself, this is transcendental platform. You see in the preface, first page of preface, in my book, it says page number 17. It is Roman 17, not numeric 17. Prabhupada says that if you see the fourth line of the second paragraph, Prabhupada is talking about Kṛṣṇa consciousness. That our Kṛṣṇa, okay, let me read the full paragraph. Second paragraph, our Kṛṣṇa consciousness movement is genuine. Manoram Prabhu, you can share the second paragraph of the preface, so all the online viewers can see. Our Kṛṣṇa consciousness movement is genuine, historically authorized, natural and transcendental due to its being based on Bhagavad Gita. Got it? So what is Kṛṣṇa consciousness? It is just the practical presentation or application of Bhagavad Gita. Nothing else. Nothing new. Nothing we have invented or manufactured. And Prabhupada says this is gradually becoming the most popular movement in the entire world, especially amongst the younger generation. It is becoming more and more interesting to the older generation also. Why? Because the older generation are seeing that younger generation, so they are also becoming inspired. We have seen in our Kṛṣṇa consciousness movement, the youngsters, they become devotees, and later their father and mother, they also become devotees. The children, they educate their parents to become Kṛṣṇa conscious or God conscious. So it is becoming more and more interesting to the older generations. Older generations are also becoming interested. So much so that the fathers and grandfathers of my disciples are encouraging us by becoming life members of a great society, an International Society for Kṛṣṇa Consciousness. In Los Angeles, many fathers and mothers used to come to see me and express their feelings of gratitude for my leading the Kṛṣṇa consciousness movement throughout the entire world. Some of them said that it is greatly fortune for the Americans that I have started the Kṛṣṇa consciousness movement in America. But now you see Prabhupada's consciousness. He says, but actually the original father of this movement is Lord Kṛṣṇa himself. Since it was started a very long time ago, but is coming down to human society by disciplic successions. If I have any credit in this connection, it does not belong to me personally, but it is due to my eternal spiritual master, his divine grace, Om Vishnu Pad Paramhans Parivajikacharya, Ashtotar Shad, Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, Prabhupada. What is he saying? What is the spirit? Non-doer. That this is nothing new. I have not done any miracle, or I have not done anything new. This movement which is coming from Kṛṣṇa, and this movement as I have been taught by my spiritual master, same way I am presenting now. So I have no credit. So what is this platform? Akarta. Akarta. Does not have. But our problem is we want to receive all the credit. Even we want the credit for what we have not done. So what is the result? We will be entangled. The material nature, the laws will entangle us. Please remember one principle. If you take credit for what you have not done, be prepared to receive defaming for what you have not done. It will come in your life, surely. Many times we fell in this situation. We are criticized, or we are blasphemed, or we are penalized for what we have not done. And we cry and we complain. Why it is happening to me? Many times we do this cheating. We take credit of what we have not done. So material nature will not spare us. So never ever try to take credit. Actually, can we take credit? Is there anything in this world that we have created? Is it possible? Huh? So why we are in illusion? Or why we want to satisfy our false ego? Krishna has already said, Prakriti kriya manani guna karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudhatma karta hamiti manyate. But the problem with us is because the lower mode, the influence is so heavy, we are not able to detach. So Krishna is giving this principle here, that Krishna is educating us that he is completely detached from his creation. He is aloof. And he has given his created being their own independence. He does not force anyone. And all of us who are his creation, who are working in this material world, we are governed by the law of karma. In other words, the person who understands this transcendental nature of the Lord is an experienced man in Krishna consciousness and is never subjected to the law. One who does not know the transcendental nature of the Lord and who thinks that the activities of the Lord are aimed at fruitive results, as are the activities of the ordinary living entity, certainly becomes entangled himself in fruitive reaction. So it is very important to know that the Lord is transcendental. He is above the action and reaction of this material world. And whatever he does is only for the benefit for all of us. He has no desire to gain any benefit from us. So he is desireless. He has no desires to attain any fruitive results. So he is free. So Krishna is enlightening through Arjuna. He is giving us this principle in Bhagavad Gita to try to become free from the desire to enjoy the fruit. From Sakam to Nishkam. So this first 6 chapters of Krishna is emphasizing on Nishkam Karma Yoga. This is the theme of this first 6 chapters. So how one can come to that platform is by duty consciousness, not remain on the desire consciousness. In the desire consciousness, it is not possible to perform duty. And Krishna says that what I am speaking to you, Arjuna, don't think that I am experimenting to you. The 15th verse, he says, Evam gyatva kritam karma purvairapi mumukshubhi kuru karmeva tasmatvam purveva purvataram kritam. So he says, Evam gyatva. Evam gyatva means one who has understood this principle, or who has understood this transcendental nature. And kritam karma. And then he performs the activity. What? With that knowledge, with that understanding. So this section is called the application of the knowledge. Which knowledge? Transcendental knowledge. So as one applies this knowledge, one who is situated in this knowledge, and he performs the activity. So what is the result of such a performer? Purver apir mumukshubhi. Mumukshubhi means one who is liberated, one who is freed. All the liberated soul in the ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. What is the transcendental nature of the Krishna? Janma karma chame divyam. Namam karmani limpanti. Name karma phale spriha. Yo yatha mam prapadyante tam satheva bhajamiyam. So Krishna is completely impartial. And Krishna is completely aloof. And Krishna is completely desireless. So one who has understood his transcendental nature, therefore you should perform your duty following in that footsteps. So Krishna is, in a way, enlivening Arjuna and forcing in Arjuna to perform his duty and not try to run away. So Kṛṣṇa is, dissipating the apprehension of Arjuna, which he was having of not fighting. What is that? Of his sinful reaction. If he fights, he has to kill, and if he kills, he will be inflicted by sinful reaction of killing his grandfather and his guru. What to speak of his relatives? So Kṛṣṇa is saying that you be situated in this transcendental nature, and based on this transcendental nature, the knowledge which I am giving you, you act as a matter of duty, not on the platform of desire. Then you will be freed, because it is not you are the first one I am experimenting. Purver api mumukshubhi. There are many, many sages who have been liberated in the past, or souls. We will take this purport also. We have time. There are two classes of men. Some of them are full of polluted material things within their hearts. So what is the pollution in the heart? Yeah, material desires. What are the desires? To enjoy. What is to be enjoyed? This material world. When this material world does not belong to us, we are neither the creator, we are neither the proprietor. How can we become enjoying? Like someone who is in the rented house. Huh? Can he become the owner of the house? No. Unless and until he pays the full price, he cannot become the owner of the house. And some of them are materially free. So contamination is only one. What is that? Material aspirations. Kṛṣṇa consciousness is equally beneficial for both of these persons. Wow. So whether you are filled with material desires, or even if you have no material desire, you may be of any class. Akamo sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradi. Akama means free of material desires. And sarva kama means full of material desires. Even you may be of either class. Kṛṣṇa consciousness is equally beneficial for both of these persons. How? That we will understand. Those who are full of dirty things can take to the line of Kṛṣṇa consciousness for a gradual cleaning process. What is the cleaning process? Is the enlightenment. Is by education. Is by imparting knowledge. Like we are knowing here, that we should not try to do what will never come to. So if you try to enjoy the material nature, you will only get frustration. And as a result of trying to enjoy the material nature, what we will do? We will create many sinful activities. And we will have to receive the result of those sinful activity in coming in further bodies. So suffering will continue. So here, Prabhupada is saying a gradual cleaning process. And how the gradual cleaning process is? Following the regulative principles of devotion. So this is very important. If we want to receive this knowledge, first we have to become pure. Like we are receiving this knowledge, but can the child receive this knowledge? Difficult. Why? Because their maturity is not there, isn't it? Mathematics is taught in class 1 also. But mathematics is taught in PhD also. But can a class 1 student be allowed to sit in a PhD class? Will he understand an iota of what is being taught? No. So similarly, to understand this subject of Bhagavad Gita, we need to be pure, because it is the purest of knowledge. So how to become pure is by following the process of regulative principles. You know what is regulative principle? Yes or no? What are the regulative principles? There are 4 basic regulative principles. To come to the life which is pure, which is free from sin. The first regulative principle is no meat eating. No meat eating. Why? Because meat eating means one has to kill or slaughter. Isn't it? You have to kill another living being. In fact, the followers of Kṛṣṇa consciousness, they even don't touch onion and garlic. Why? Because they only eat that is offered to Kṛṣṇa. When we will come, we have already covered that in the 3rd chapter. So, no meat eating means mercy. The first principle that we have to observe in the life is we have to be merciful to other living entities. Daya. What is the second regulative principle? No intoxication. Intoxication, you understand? Liquor, smoking, drugs, and whatnot. I don't know. Maybe there are some other avenues also. People may be intoxicated. Huh? Yeah, we even don't take tea and coffee. So we do not engage in those activities which stimulate the sense. You understand? Why? Because we are trying to regulate the sense, not trying to stimulate it. And the third is no gambling. What is the principle behind the second activity of no intoxication? Is tapasya. Human life is a life of restraint. Restraint means control. Animal life, there is no control. Is there any control? No. But in human life, if you practice the animal life, then you will not get the human body in the next life. Then you will receive what you have performed in this life. So the second is tapasya and intoxication. And the third is no gambling. Gambling also means speculation. And what gambling people do? They do cheating, isn't it? To win by hook or by crook. So what they do? Do they speak the truth? No. So the third principle is satya. Always be truthful. So if you are in a profession of cheating, how can you speak the truth? And if you earn money by unfair means, so that will bring such very sharp sinful reaction. So that sin has to be avoided. And fourth is no illicit sex. That there should not be any physical relationship between man and woman outside the institution of marriage. Again, it is for human society. Is this marriage institution there in animal society? No. But now modern man wants to be animal. He does not believe in the institution of marriage. So what is this principle of no illicit sex? It is purity. Pure. So human life means pure. So these are the four regulative principles. So Prabhupada is speaking here that whether you are full of desire, so even if you are full of desire, so where the desire is coming from? The desire is coming from one's own consciousness. And consciousness is polluted. So what we have to do? We have to purify the consciousness. How to purify the consciousness? By following the four regulative principles. Very simple. No meat eating. That does not mean that you cannot eat. There are so many food grains. There are so many milk preparations. There are so many vegetable, fruit, juices, and whatnot. In your IARI, that is why we have opened a Sattvic mess. We don't take any non-veg, eggs, nothing, not even onion and garlic. And whatever we cook, we offer to Kṛṣṇa. And our students are enjoying it. They are very happy. If you ask a sincere practitioner, our follower, you invite him to the best 5-star hotel in Delhi and ask him to take dinner, he will flatly refuse. He is not interested. Why? Because he is interested in Krishna Prasad. He is not interested. So these four regulative principles that Prabhupada is mentioning here, it can gradually cleanse the impurities which is there in the heart. Those who are already cleansed of impurities may continue to act in the same Krishna consciousness, so that others may follow their exemplary activities and thereby be benefited. So one who is already purified, so he acts to set example of others. That Krishna spoke in the third verse. What is the verse? Yad yad acharati sreshtas tat tat eva taro jana yat tat pramanam kurute lokas tat anuvartate. So in any case, one who is pure, he also follows. And one who is impure, he follows to become pure. So how many of you want to be pure? Very simple. Follow the 4 regulative principles. And I can assure you, if you follow it for 1 year, you see the difference. You see the difference in your life. The sense objects will not be able to control you to the extent they are controlling you now. You getting my point? You know what is the sense object? As soon as you see the sense object, what happens? The mind and the senses become irresistibly uncontrolled. How to do that? Because the pollution is inside. So what we have to do? We have to purify. And what is the purification process? Is following the 4 regulative principles. Foolish persons or neophytes in Kṛṣṇa consciousness often want to retire from activities without having knowledge of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So many times we see, many people approach us and they tell us, Prabhuji, हमें अपने पास रख लीजिए. He said, why? बोले इस संसार से बहुत थक गए हैं. There is too much suffering. What you will do here? So Prabhupada is saying, foolish people or neophyte, they want to retire from activities, like Arjuna. What we have to do? We don't have to retire. Kṛṣṇa consciousness means always activity. But what kind of activity? Purified activities, not pure polluted activities. We cannot become inactive. Others are thinking if they come to the temple, they have nothing to do. They will eat and sleep. No, that is not the case. Rather, it is very difficult for an outsider to maintain the schedule of the temple. Prabhupada is saying, foolish persons or neophyte in Kṛṣṇa consciousness often want to retire from activities without having knowledge in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Arjuna's desire to retire from activity on the battlefield was not approved by the Lord. One need only know how to act. This is very important. The principle one should know how to act. How to act? What Kṛṣṇa is educating us in these last 2 verses. How we should act? How we should act? Yeah. Without the desire to enjoy the result. In a detached mood. One need only know how to act to retire from the activities of Kṛṣṇa consciousness and to sit aloof, making a show of Kṛṣṇa consciousness is less important than actually engaging in the field of activities for the sake of Kṛṣṇa. You see, our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, who started the Kṛṣṇa consciousness movement, he was already in Vrindavan. For last several years, he was in Vrindavan. He was having a retired life, a sannyas life. So what was the need for him to take so much of trouble to go from Vrindavan to New York? That too without any resource. Why he did that? Because he wanted to set the right example, to show us from the example that retiring or not engaging in Kṛṣṇa consciousness is not important. But even at the advanced age of 70, he took so much of risk, the risk of his life. On the voyage, he had 2 heart attacks. But after reaching America, he did not say, when is the ship returning to India? Let me return. No. He said, let me even die. But I will do what is my duty. I have been instructed by my spiritual master to preach. But till the last breath of my life, I will preach. Even I don't care even if I die. So Kṛṣṇa will reciprocate accordingly. Even in difficult situation, how much faith and how much effort we are making. If our faith is fragile, we won't be able to survive. Prabhupada never lost faith. His faith even became more fixed. He is speaking in his composition, Markine Bhagavad Dharma, that my dear Lord, you have some specific function from me to perform. That is why you have brought me here. So you make me act in a way you desire. I have become a puppet in your hand. You know puppet? How does the puppet act? According to the puppeteer. If the puppeteer pulls right, the puppet dances on the right side, on the left side. If it pulls both the string, it dances from both the sides. Isn't it? So here Kṛṣṇa is speaking here that we should not have our own personal agendas, our personal plans, our personal programs. Why? Because all that is going to entangle us. All that is going to keep us repeatedly in the cycle of birth and death and suffering. So here Kṛṣṇa is saying that in the past, many purified men, they followed my example. And by following my example, they all became freed. And my dear Arjuna, because you are my friend and my devotee, so I am also recommending this to you. And through Arjuna, Kṛṣṇa is recommending this to all of us. That we follow the example of what Kṛṣṇa is speaking this principle. Arjuna is here advised to act in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, following in the footsteps of Lord's previous disciples. That means Arjuna is not the first disciple. Who is the first disciple? Vivaswan. And many more. Yeah. So we should never think that am I doing the right thing or not? Will it benefit me or not? What will happen to me? So many apprehensions we have. So many doubts we have. So Kṛṣṇa is clarifying all these doubts. That my dear Arjuna, what to speak of Arjuna? Arjuna was 5,000 years before us, isn't it? So many acharyas, so many great souls we have in Parampara coming down. So we should try to put faith, not in our intelligence, but in the intelligence of the Supreme Lord. Following in the footsteps of the Lord's previous disciples, such as the sun god Vivaswan as mentioned herein before. The Supreme Lord knows all his past activities, as well as those of the persons who acted in Kṛṣṇa consciousness in the past. Therefore, he recommends the acts of the sun god who learned this art from the Lord some millions of years before. All such students of Lord Kṛṣṇa are mentioned here as past liberated persons, engaged in the discharge of duties allotted by Kṛṣṇa. So in general, what has Kṛṣṇa allotted the duties? According to Varna and Ashram. Because it is the purifying process. So if one works according to Varna and Ashram, he will be purified and he will come to the platform of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Because the purpose of each Varna and Ashram is Samsiddhi Haritoshnam. But direct Kṛṣṇa consciousness is very powerful. It will elevate us directly to the liberated state, as he is directing personally to Arjuna. So if we follow in the footsteps of Arjuna. So two learnings which we received from the last two verses, that if we follow what Kṛṣṇa is speaking or what his representatives are speaking, we will be at the liberated platform. And how to come to the liberated platform? That we have to be free from materially motivated desires, and we should not try to reap the reward or results of the activity what we are assigned. And we should have full faith and confidence in what we are being told to perform. Hare Kṛṣṇa. So I'll stop here. It is exactly 9. And it is up to you to inquire, to question, to doubt, or ask some clarifications if you have. Rolling. Your turn. For last 1 hour I was looking at, please give the mic there.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Kṛṣṇa.
You are telling that we should not worry about the result, right? But whatever we do it for the result. For example, if I am cooking and I am looking to get a good taste, so I am not understanding the result. But that okay, we do research in that, we do it for the result. So what type of result, how we should not be get attached? I'm confused.
Very good. At least you have inquired. And you are honest. Yes, normally any act we do, we are motivated by the result. Yeah. And the result, who is the beneficiary of the result? By the self. So that what is the mentality? And I am the one who needs to enjoy the result or the reward of the action. So what it is within the law of karma. So we will receive the result or the reward, but we will also receive the reaction. Reaction of the action. Yeah. So it will entangle us. Like you are working in the lab. Who has appointed you? The IARI administration. Yeah, the IARI administration under the DG. DG has not directly appointed you. It is through the administration of IARI. Yeah. And you work on behalf of IARI. Is it? So who should be the enjoyer of your work? No? Any research that you do or any finding that you come out. Can you claim to be the proprietary right? Can you claim? No. You are only an instrument like the knife. If the knife is cutting, isn't it? When you cut the vegetable, how do you cut? If your husband tells you that today the vegetable was very tasty, it was cut very nicely. So will you give the credit to the knife? Why not? Was it not cut by the knife? But who is responsible? When you say you are responsible, because you are the one who used the knife. So is the administration not using you? Is it not paying you? Is it not maintaining you? So what are you? Instrument. So how can the instrument claim that it is because of one level of understanding? One level of understanding. Here Kṛṣṇa is saying in this material world, whatever we do, it entangles us. It attaches us. But is it permanent here? Nothing is permanent. It is temporary. Material world is created so that we come to know what is the purpose of life. The purpose of life is to be detached from this world. So if we remain attached, then we will never become detached. And this attachment is the cause of our ignorance and illusion. In temporary things we are thinking. But the purpose of human life is not all this temporary achievement. It's the permanent achievement of knowing who we are. That is self-realization. Because of all this activity and attachment, we are entangled in this only. That is what the people are. They are most absorbed in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. How to have more facilities for all these four activities. How to have more resources for all these four activities. Right or wrong? What else are they doing? But is this the purpose of human life? So they are in misdirected. So they are wasting this human form of life. Getting? Like you are the mother of your son. But can you claim? Once he grows up, will he agree to abide by what you say? Can you claim that you are my son? I created you. I earned for you the education. I paid for you the education. Can you say me? You belong to me and you obey me. Will it happen? No. So what we have to do, we have to think that we are in this temporary body. And we are not meant to spend our life only in material activities. The purpose of human life is to inquire as to who we are and what is the purpose of human life. And try to achieve that purpose. So there we have to maintain the body. So what is necessary? To that extent we engage in our occupation. But occupation is not all and all. Beyond the occupation is the constitutional position of the soul. So we should inquire about the soul and we should try to come to the platform of soul. So that requires detachment. Like you have come here, you have given some enjoying tendency. That is why you are here for 1 hour. People have choice. They can surf their mobile phone, they can surf their TV channel, they can surf their Netflix channel, what not. There are millions of avenues, isn't it? So there is a certain amount of maturity and detachment required to receive this knowledge, right or not? So similarly, if we detach from the material activity, then we can get attached to the spiritual activity. And spiritual activity is most fulfilling because it brings us to the platform of soul. So that is what Krishna is giving this knowledge. And with the attached mentality, we cannot perform duty. Because what is inherent is desire. And desire means selfishness. Any activity which you perform on the selfish platform, it will never be rewarding to us. It will never be satisfying to us. Because the self is not the body or the senses. The self is the soul. So that is what the education is. That is what the enlightenment is. Why you are coming here to attend this class? What is the purpose? Purpose is to gain knowledge. And through the knowledge, you can live a life which is more satisfying, more peaceful, more fulfilling. Isn't it? Simple. So you have to be detached. Are your neighbors appreciating you? Are your teachers and students appreciating you? Yes or no? You know very well. Hardly anyone. Hardly anyone. Why? Because they are dense down in delusion. So you are showing detachment from them or not? Say yes or no. You see the situation? So similarly, whatever action we are performing, whatever act we are performing, we should never ever consider that we are the only doer. Are we the only doer? Do we achieve everything of our own? There are so many others who are cooperating, who are guiding, isn't it? So similarly, this is what it is, that we should give credit to them. I read out Srila Prabhupada's preface. What is he saying? It is not credit to me. But the problem is because of ignorance and illusion, we think that we are the doer. When we will come later, then we will come that there are three doers. The doer is one at the level of the soul, second at the level of material nature, and third at the level of the super soul. Because without his sanction and without his direction, can we do anything? No. So to think only oneself as a doer, one is in ignorance. So that ignorance has to be dispelled. And from desire platform, Kṛṣṇa is bringing us to the platform of duty. Duty platform, whether you are feeling, success or not, whether you are feeling, good or not, you have to perform your duty. Like you are a mother. Whether your health is good or not, you have to cook. If you don't cook, then your family will starve. Isn't it? You perform the activity or not. Yeah. So this is what it means to come to the platform of duty. It has to be done with detachment. Personal liking and disliking, personal pleasure and pain is to be avoided. That is the education. That is the enlightenment Kṛṣṇa is giving. Be above the personal motivation. That is sacrifice. That entails sacrifice. From selfishness to try to come to the platform of selflessness. Selfless, only one can perform duty. Selfish person, he is saturated in the pleasure of his own, that is desire. So that is what we see. People, all of a sudden quit. They stop doing any activity. Why? Because I don't like it, but I don't feel it. So then what? Then again they are into, confusion, bewilderment, and frustration and depression. This is what is happening with the younger generation. They have no guide. They don't hear anyone. They do what they like, and they put themselves in difficult situations. Liking will change. Liking changes or not? Pleasure and pain changes. So with every change, do we change? No. We must be steady. We must be fixed in performing our duty. That is the process of purification. So Krishna is bringing Arjuna to the process of performing his duty. How to become on the duty platform? Become detached. Whether the husband says you cooked well or not, will you only go and cook when he favors you? No. Then you are not in the duty consciousness. Then you are not doing the duty. The husband has to go out and earn. Whether the wife is cooperating or not, irrespective of that, his duty is to earn, to maintain the family. He cannot give up his duty. So he has to be detached, right or not? So the level of detachment is required. Attachment means only if you are successful, you will do, otherwise you will not do. But then what? So not performing duty is sin. This is what Krishna is saying. If you do not perform your duty, you will be inflicted by sin. So to avoid sinful reaction to Arjuna, Krishna is enlivening him, educating him. And through him is educating all of us. This is what depression is. Success, we are so elated. You see, people are, jumping and throwing their wrist and arms in the air as if, they have climbed mountain. And in, failure, they sink. That is not of a mature person, immature person. Okay? Hare Krishna. So you should be performing your activity as duty. You will see it will be very satisfying. Isn't it? Even if you are not well and you have cooked and your family has, sufficiently taken the meals, how you feel? You will see your pain will become less. Your headache will be gone. Sometimes we have headache. We have headache. Most of the time we have headache or backache or whatnot. People have so many backache now. Younger generation, 20, 25, they have backache. It was never there before. Why it is all this ache and all coming? Not performing our duty, the reaction of that. To perform your duty, you'll be free from reaction. Okay. It has taken a discourse to explain this. Any other question from anyone? पूछो अगर है तो पूछो. Don't hesitate. Online, any viewer has any question or any doubt? So we'll close here. It is getting late. It is 9:15. Thank you very much. We'll continue discussing. Next Saturday, I won't be able to come. If you agree, I can come on Sunday, because Saturday I have engagement. If you are willing to come, or if you want to have holiday, yeah, up to you. Huh? Next Sunday I can come. Saturday I have engagement because it is the Kashi. I have promised somewhere. Yeah. So Sunday I can come. But can the time be little earlier so that I can return back? 7 to 8. Is it available? This venue is available? Just inquire and check. Okay. So we will, keep you posted whether we'll have this spiritual scientist class, most likely on Sunday. Next class will be on Sunday. We'll let you know the exact timing. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories.